Carly, I'm so glad you're doing this story. You went back, you visited with them. What'd you find out?
Yeah, that's right. So back in February, right after President Biden killed the Keystone XL pipeline, I went to Fouke, Arkansas to talk to laid-off workers. This time I was in Bald Knob, Arkansas, which is informally known as the pipeliner capital of the world because of all the pipeliners who live there. And I found out that people are still very much struggling. Check it out.
I mean, it's hard to make plans when you've got an administration that's trying to crush your future.
So the pipeline was killed in January. It's now April. Give us an update. Have you been able to find a job?
Not with the pipeline or any other thing right now, especially with the green energy projects he talked about.
I've looked for them green jobs and they're not there, and that's the reason I started a trucking company, is because there are no green jobs there. I mean, I'll look him dead in his eyes and tell him.
I lost probably 60 to 80 grand not being able to go on that job. I mean, that's my livelihood. If I'm not off working, I'm barely scraping by. I got 2 kids I'm having to support. What am I supposed to do there?
Without working, we lose insurance, income.
My whole family's unemployed.
Your whole family?
My whole family.
So what is everybody going to do?
We don't know. We'll lose everything we have that we've worked our entire lives for.
Tell me a little bit about Bald Knob, Arkansas. They call it the pipeliner capital of the world. We're looking at a lot of out-of-work pipeliners right now. So what's the mood in this town right now?
It's terrible. It's terrible. You can usually this time of year you drive around, you don't see any welding rigs around, and they're everywhere now.
So all of these people should be in another state working on the pipeline, and they're here.
Drawing unemployment if you're lucky enough.
President Biden just unveiled his $2.3 trillion infrastructure plan.
I'm proposing a plan for the nation that rewards work, not just rewards wealth. I'm a union guy. I support unions. Unions built the middle class. It's about time they start to get a piece of the action.
Do you feel included in that plan?
Well, no, of course not. It used to be blue-collar Joe. It's green-collar Joe now.
The middle class is standing right here looking at him, telling him, hey, we're hurting and we need jobs. And he hasn't even came on the news and said one thing about it. I'm not saying let's just do away with green energy, but I think just dropping what we have now and going to something different is not a very good idea.
He's not helping us, and I don't know of any unions that he's helped so far in other trades. I don't know if he's going to or not, but I know that's what he says, and I'll believe it when I see it, but he's certainly not for union pipelines.
You and 20 other state AGs have a lawsuit. You're suing the Biden administration to try and overturn that pipeline decision. You say killing it is unconstitutional.
This is a decision of Congress to make. It is not the president's decision to make. And so when he used that pen and eliminated the Keystone Pipeline permit, he did so without proper authority. We're simply asking the court is to revoke that cancellation and to allow the pipeline to move forward until Congress makes the decision.
Are you confident that you're going to win?
We are confident that we're going to win because we're on the right side of the law. But unfortunately, for these hardworking Arkansans, it could be months, perhaps, before we were able to get an injunction.
You haven't given up on the Keystone Pipeline?
No, because their solar and their wind, they still have to have gas and oil to run those things.
You can't just flip the switch and turn crude oil off.
You know, I knew when he canceled the Keystone that was just the beginning of the attack on oil and gas and try to force us in a greener direction. We need to stand up and let the administration know that there's a lot of Americans out here that depend on oil and gas, and whether the administration wants to admit it or not, they depend on it too.
Are you going to give up on the Keystone XL pipeline?
If the gas company sells the pipe and gives up, then I'll give up. But until then, if that pipe's still up there, there's still a chance.
There's still a chance, he says. So when I went to Arkansas in February, everyone had just lost their jobs. But the thing that made this trip even more important is that it's April, and this is when major construction on the Keystone XL pipeline should have started. So all of those people that I spoke to shouldn't have been in Bald Knob at the time. They should have been in Nebraska or somewhere else working on the pipeline. Instead, they're sitting at home collecting unemployment checks if they are lucky, because a lot of pipeline projects were canceled in 2020 because of the pandemic. pandemic. So a lot of those people don't even qualify for unemployment. So think about that when you hear about illegal immigrants getting $15,000 in New York. What about these people?
It is so crushing for all of them. And to not provide an alternative, you hear their stories. There aren't any green jobs out there. Yeah. So I feel so sorry for them, Carly.
Absolutely.
They're good people.
They absolutely are. And they look for those green jobs and they can't find them.
Yeah, that is stressful. Imagine not being able to pay your bills, not being able to provide for your family.
That's right.
All right, thank you so much.